Hey, 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 everybody. Xeus here with Sounds and Grounds. We're coming at you for our 13th session. We are so excited to have you with us to imbibe on this journey with the legendary Courtney Cox, guitarist, CCSHRED, and as usual, as per the norm, Mr. Jack Costo, my hetero life mate, is here uh, on the journey as well to steer the ship in the linear direction that I often veer
Yeah.
from.
He's got the sounds, I got the grounds.
Well, I have grounds and sounds also today, so I studied from the master. Well, Courtney, thank you so much for spending your evening where you're at now with us for the podcast. If anyone doesn't know, please get out from under the rock you're hiding. Courtney Cox is the new full-time lead guitarist of Burning Witches and other projects as well, I'm sure we'll get into. But Courtney, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. I'm still recovering. It was yesterday. I had like a pre-Thanksgiving in Germany, which is weird because you can't really find anything to cook, but I made it happen. But and then the rest of the day, I just slept off all the food. But here I am. I washed my face. That's all you got.
Right. And you don't have to worry about showering and whatnot because it's not smell-o-vision yet, but that's coming, I'm sure.
No, I didn't. It's okay though.
So if people don't know, you've had a pretty motion-filled year, both career-wise and physically with the moves. Previously, you were based in Southern California, playing with the Iron Maidens, who a friend of ours, Kirsten, was very gracious in recommending we talk to you. But then you moved back to the East Coast from where you're originally at, outside of Philadelphia, which I had to research Delco, what that was. That was quite a entertaining deep dive. And then now you're in Germany, and we got tons of questions from your fans. We'll have to give a shout out to all the cool folks that submitted really legit questions. I'm sure you get so tired of the same things over and over. We certainly want to talk about more cool, interesting stuff that isn't the norm so much. We veer from science to nerdisms to music to coffee, whatever we want to talk about. As hopefully friends, getting to know such awesome musicians and entertainers out there. So you're now in, what's that?
Should I hang up now? I'm pretty boring.
No. I mean, we can try to inject a little activity into it if it seems like you're sort of sinking. We want all the ships to rise on the same.
Don't worry, I can swim. Don't worry.
Fun wave of entertainment, as it were. But just from seeing your videos in the past, your live antics, just if anyone follows you, and one of the questions we can just jump right in with, yeah, sorry, here's more of the same thing that you don't want to see, but you can't look away from. You do have a personality. Like all entertainers, you have your stage, your CCSHRED, I'm sure, is one. And then you also have your behind the scenes and just antics. It really seems like you enjoy what you do like 100%, and that's great. But I'll stop talking and take a breath and let you talk, since you are the special guest here and nobody really wants to hear what I have to say. But tell us about Germany and your move like twice in a year and how that's going. And also, of course, the big Burning Witches, the album just came out in May. We want to jump into all that stuff, so I'll shut up and you can take your deal.
No, I mean, it's been a crazy year. I don't even think my feet hit the ground yet. Just go. But it all kind of initiated through the Maiden's last tour in Europe that we opened up for Accept. And I've been friends with the Witches for years, and they're really close girlfriends of mine. And they came to the Zurich show, and they explained, Larry was pregnant. Congrats, she did have her son. Beautiful baby.
Congrats. Boy. Awesome.
And I was like, yeah, I'll help. I'm always willing to help, be right there. And then tour ends, I have the cram set list in LA, back to Europe, and back here, back there. And I was just like, you know what? This is getting rough, especially mentally, physically. LA to Europe constantly was too much. So I just, decided to bite the bullet, move back to Philly because, obviously closer to Europe. And then, the witches have been busy so much, there's no real point to go back and forth because they're very expensive. So I just kind of sat my ass down in Germany and here I am. So we're still touring the last album, The Dark Tower. So
now is your plan to live in Germany as your member of the band? And you are a full member, you're not just a fill-in at this point, I read that correct?
Yeah, as of August I joined permanently. And they're based out of Switzerland, but Switzerland's too fucking expensive. And I like Germany, so
yeah. And your singer was from is Dutch, that's correct?
Yeah, from the Netherlands, yeah.
So she lives there, or she also lives in Switzerland?
No, she's in the Netherlands. She's
Sweden.
probably an hour and a half from me.
Oh, right on. Cool. Well, that answers a big chunk of questions for your fans. Like,
yeah, for now, as long as I'm allowed to stay,
Yeah.
The visa process out here is not fun. So I guess it's karma for Americans, because we make everyone jump through how many hoops to come work in the States. I'm getting a tenfold.
Right. Now you do have a connection to Germany. Some of your ancestors or grandmother, I believe I read, was from there.
Yeah, my great grandparents are from Hamburg. They're Nagnama. Last name, I don't know how to say family name, familien surname. We'll go with that. It was Horne, and yeah, they own, from what I discovered on Ancestry.com and all that cool stuff. And that was not a plug.
I'll link it in the description below.
Right. Everything is
use
a plug
code
here.
CCSHREDs for 15% off.
Yeah. Yeah, we do not shy away from plugs here at Sounds and Grounds. Plug the shit out of everything and anything, please.
Oh, I mean, I only had the free trial for 7 days to get all the info I could get, because I was trying to apply for dual citizenship, get a passport, but I was denied because they ended up marrying Americans, so that kind of stopped America.
Gosh darn it.
But apparently they had a huge cigar shop in Hamburg, Horne's Cigars or something like that, but obviously it was destroyed in whichever war. But yeah, so I do have some German history. And even my earliest memory as a toddler was my great grandmother. Every time I would be in trouble, I'd be, "Mein Gott, Courtney, mein Gott." She didn't speak English.
Right. What child wouldn't be completely excited about Germany with scolding in a native tongue?
It's like, is she angry with me? No, she just talks like that.
Right. German is just angry. She could be saying, "I love you, have a nice day," and it's like, why does she hate me?
No, I love the German language.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of kicked myself. Obviously, I was too young to really understand what was going on at the time. I should have learned German, when my brain was still a sponge, but obviously I didn't.
Right. Yeah, that was the next question is, how is it? I know everyone in the known universe speaks English, but are you actively trying to learn German, or is it, where are you at with that?
Ein bisschen, I'm probably saying it wrong, forgive me for everyone from Germany watching this, but it's actually it's like once I start to get a grasp on it, I meet up with the rest of the Burning Witches because Swiss German is different than German. So it's like I'm always sent back to square one. But I mean, living out here for the meantime, it's better that way to learn because I have no choice really. I'm just kind of submerged in it right now. And it takes so much to not be the typical like American Karen going speak English. But no, I'm very nice, but yeah, it is very challenging.
Yeah. Right. Speaking about more with Witches. Were you a fan of the band before you got? I know you had played as a guest musician years ago, on a particular song. But were you more of suddenly going to be a full member? Now I have to woodshed and learn a bunch of stuff, or were you kind of already familiar with some of their tunes?
Oh, yeah, very familiar. So we've been friends for years, and I think the first time we met, I believe they must have been just at the end of their self-titled, the first album. It must have been 2016, because they opened up for the Maidens in Austria. That's when we were really, started from there. And then they asked me to record a track on Hex and Hammer, which was, I believe, the second album. I'm shooting you now, right? I'm part of the band.
You're new, it's fine.
Yeah,
They'll figure it out.
And then they opened again for the Maidens after that, or whatever it was before. I came up and did their, I jammed Holy Diver with them since they had covered that. And then we had a tour together in the States, and just every night, when they would go on, I'm just like, man, I should have just been on top of this a long time ago, because I've always been a fan of the music, I love playing Iron Maiden and stuff, but that kind of metal that they write is more my kind of speed. It's like the heavy metal. I don't know the words to describe it. It's more my style, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge King Diamond fan, and that kind of metal, if that makes sense. But and me and Linda would pretty much watch Soundcheck every day, and I'm like, I would always just be like, I really need to be a part of this band. Like, just every day, just it's busy on the road, and sometimes you don't always watch the band opening, but I watched every night. I was like, man. So it was, I don't really believe in fate and that kind of stuff, but we had that show with Accept, and they popped the question. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm not even gonna think. Like, this is gonna cause a shit ton of drama and completely fuck up my life, but here we go. I'm in.
Well, there's something to be said for manifesting your own destiny. So you kind of get what you ask for in this particular case.
Just throw everything you got at me, losing my freaking bags at the airport every 5 seconds, lack of sleep, different languages. I mean, I haven't even gotten to freaking European taxes yet. That's going to be fun. But, I kind of just keep edging away. Every day something else is thrown my way, but managed to hurdle over it.
Right. It seems like, and these things are all going to pass. It's a one-time thing. You're going to learn the core languages you need. You're going to learn how the EU works versus here in the States. But the opportunity to have the dream gig, because you've had tons of what most players, I would think, in metal would assume is a dream gig, playing in Priest cover bands, or I guess tribute. I don't want to say cover like it's trivial, but tribute bands, and of course the Iron Maidens. When did you know you sort of wanted to branch out and do more original plays instead of more tribute stuff?
I mean, don't get me wrong, tribute scene is amazing. A lot of people talk shit on it, but if you haven't experienced it, it's its own world. And I mean, even for the Maidens, especially being together as long as they have, and still going, they've been together longer than most original bands, I mean, obviously they've had their lineup changes, but it's just great. And I started playing guitar. I didn't start playing guitar like, I'm going to be in a tribute band, that kind of, it just kind of fell into place like that, because I changed my life at 18, going on 19, left everything in Philly to pursue this dream that, takes a lot of balls to just, leave home like that with basically nothing except like a backpack and your guitar. And, I was fortunate enough, the stars aligned again that, my feet hit the ground in LA. The Maidens needed an Adrian Smith, and, I never looked back. But the whole original thing was always there, and it came down to there just wasn't a lot of time, because once the maidens are just show. And then even financially, it's expensive to, fund your original stuff. And at the time I was still young, I still broke. So I was just riding this train that just never stopped. But, after 14 years, I'm only getting older. So it's just like, it's time, so I did it.
Yeah.
Change isn't easy. Like, you're always like, oh man, is this right? But you never know what's right or what's wrong. But I mean, it's terrifying. I'm still terrified because that's all I've really known, other than like side projects and this. I'm in a different country, complete different world, culture shock. But it just feels right. And I'm loving what I'm doing. It's just this new world for me. And I don't know what's behind the next door, but I'm gonna twist that handle and see.
Right on.
Well said.
It seems like you did this when you were 18 or 19, with less experience, less knowledge, obviously less skill. So now fast forward 14, 15 years, you've just kind of done the same thing to restart probably that drive. So don't ever question yourself, because if 18-year-old Courtney could do it in LA of all places, I'm pretty sure, let's say 29-year-old Courtney can do it in the Deutschland.
Yeah, I feel like as an artist, it's like if you find yourself really comfortable with where you're at, like stagnancy is always right on the heels of that. And if you're not a little bit out of your comfort zone all the time, then it's easy to not really be growing or doing the right stuff.
And it was sort of the case, especially since COVID, you're stuck at home. I mean, the whole world was shut down. It's just like, I really don't do anything else except repack my bags, go back to the airport, and go play, the fucking trooper. We got to don't get me wrong, love Band Up the Girls, everything, but I just started feeling my own drive kind of dwindling, because I kind of went into robot mode. If we didn't even have to rehearse, if we had to rehearse something, you just put the album on. So I just kind of fell into that, and I was I was kind of getting stagnant in my mind as a musician, and the creativity, because the songs are already written. And I would next time every show, like, oh yeah, you didn't miss a note. The solos were great. I'm like, I've been changing the solos since day one when I joined. Taking little liberties, but
Yeah.
But now it's which is just like, even playing the older stuff, obviously, that I wasn't on. I have the freedom to, change what I want. Obviously, I keep the main notes and stuff, so the song doesn't change. But it's nice to have that liberty to, express yourself. So yeah, I just started to not recognize myself for a bit there. I wasn't, I was working on a solo album at the time, and I just didn't want to pick up guitar some days because I was just kind of burnt out.
Totally know what you mean.
I mean, we all go through it, and it's not the woe is me right now. Like every freaking musician goes through it. You just don't hear about it most times. Everything you read online, it's like either life is great, thanks everyone, support, or like, oh, James Hetfield doesn't like mint chip ice cream. That's like,
yeah.
Right, and then it starts an internet war because half the fans do and half don't. It's like you missed the point. It's just a human being expressing themselves. It just happens to be an entertainer, that's in the spotlight constantly. Oh, and a billionaire. But let's digress from that information.
God forbid I have an opinion on ice cream.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, what does this have to do with Kill 'Em All being the only good album you ever put out?
Oh, we're not going down that road.
Right. Yeah. Right. But yeah, it's I see this a lot from my little corner of like blip of existence, it's a creative entertainer sort of situation. And you see this all the time with people that are actors, you know, and things like that in a series. They'll do a series for so long, but then it's just like you said, robot mode. It's like I'm talking to the same cast, we're doing the same bits. It's just this yada yada yada. Nothing ever branches off too far from that. So
and then 10 years, it's like, what do you do when the show ends? And then it's like, I will always be remembered as that person from Game of Thrones or Harry Potter or
yeah, Game of Thrones, you get a nice chair with your name on it.
I remember I forget, was it Gibson or something? They had like one of the thrones, but instead of swords, it was fucking guitars. I'm like, I just cannot fucking get away from this TV show.
Yeah.
Everything is Thrones. Why?
And I mean, they did their best, George R. Martin, to kill the vibe of the legacy with that last season, but still, like, it's always going to be there. And every single one of those characters or actors that are characters, like, that's it. That's what they're going to be known for, no matter what comes in the future. You know, we'll see like Emilia Clarke and things like a Terminator movie, and nobody goes to watch it, or if they do, they're like, "Oh, it's the Dragon Queen from Game of Thrones," you know.
It's Dragon Bitch.
Right. So, you know, where's the Dragon Terminator at? I want to see that movie. You know,
I actually do want to see that movie. That sounds awesome.
Well, they are rebooting it, so you never know what could happen. You never know.
Another funny thing, Game of Thrones, though, actually, me and Kirsten, I think it was the last season, and we were on tour in Europe, and we had a really crappy Wi-Fi on the bus. So anytime like bus call was like 5 a.m., everyone rushed out of the back room because, you know, use the back room to change and stuff, you know. And that pissed off some band members. And me and Kirsten, like, we're watching this episode. We're watching this episode. Kirsten was like, "What's going on?" Well, you know how she is with, like, Marvel and stuff, that she got really into Game of Thrones.
Oh wow. Yeah. This is a good transition here because we need to discuss the Marvel situation with you. Via Kirsten.
Do we?
We do. It's on the list, Jack. Did you not look at the list? It's on the call sheet, buddy. So our big joke, and I mean, you may or may not have seen our session with Kirsten, was, and this is all in jest, so I'm not being serious, and we weren't being serious.
Oh, she talking shit on me?
Well, no, she was like, you know, Courtney hates this stuff, and all I talk about is this. And I was like, well, you know, now you know the real reason she left the band. And she was like, it probably is the reason. And I'm like, you know what? We need to get her on the show and find out. So now you can answer that question, and we'll just let you enjoy the rest of your evening in Germany.
My whistle before this one. There's some questions like, okay, you're really gonna watch your mouth right now. I would say hate is a very strong word. I think it's just, I wanted to give Kirsten so much shit, such a bad time, because literally that's all she would talk about. And it kind of worked in my favor because I just started coming up with these crazy ideas for TikToks, and I think the first was Dub Smash. I'm showing my age, but yeah, we would just compile these funny videos, and sure enough, it's just, you could see it in her eyes too before she even opens her mouth that she's going to go into a Marvel tick, as I call it. And then she'll just, you know, you're not having a conversation about it with her. No, she's talking at you about it. And there's just so many times I'm just sitting there like, you know, the drool starts, and she gets really into it. So excited. The thing was Ant-Man, and like how 5 years the daughter or whatever it was looks so much older, and then she would just loop and loop and loop. And it just became like, she's the reason why I dislike it, but it was just more of a funny thing back and forth. But I wouldn't turn Marvel on per se, but I wouldn't turn it off, I'll put it that way. It's good background stuff. You know, some of the actors are attractive, so that helps too. So
Right.
See?
Yeah. Well, now that you're outside of the loop, as you call it, you can maybe enjoy some of it and go outside of it and walk away from it. But
I showed some of the newer ones, you know, 'cause they always catch up on new movies on airplanes when you're on a good aircraft. But I tried and I was right. It was complete shit. And you know what? And it's okay because I discussed it with Kirsten and she agreed.
yeah, yeah, they can't
I was
all
saying-
be houses of the holy and Jedi. There are gonna be some other things in there that
Yeah. And I feel like it's also so easy to not to let, but people that are obsessed with something can ruin your enjoyment of it, even if you would like it anyway. Like, I had a lot of this experience at music school, like, whatever the flavor of the week was, everybody would be talking about, like, all the metal kids would be talking about the new Meshuggah album, or, people would be on Snarky Puppy or one of these things. And it was just so beaten to death that I was like, I cannot listen to any of this just because of how annoying the fan base is right now. And then you go listen to it like 3-4 years later, and I was like, damn, this is kind of cool, huh? But
right.
it's like some of those things you just have to discover how to enjoy on your own.
Yeah, for sure. And knowing Kirsten and talking to her and getting to know her, she knew how annoyed you were getting, so I think she doubled down on it.
Oh,
Like
for
that's
sure.
the vibe
Definitely.
I get. Like you're going to hear about 47 different Marvel scenarios everywhere we go, and what the particular superhero would do in this situation at the truck stop at 3 a.m.
Oh, don't worry, I got her back. You know, it was just a constant tour pranks back and forth. I think I won most of them though. I'm sure she was different, but I
Yeah.
do.
Um,
Me and her in the same room when we're on the funny trip. Oh my god, we were very annoying. We were great. You know, we were funny. as
one
shit.
man's annoying is another man's entertainment, so I wouldn't discredit it so quickly. And yourself, if you were entertained, I mean, that's 99% of the formula.
Even like traveling, you know, I would just be editing on my phone. I even, you know, Linda would be like, "Oh, she's up to something," because she won't stop laughing. the video, and you know, the whole van starts erupting because they saw, like, "Oh, that's what you were doing." Like, yes.
Yeah.
All about the timing, you know.
Right, for sure. Now, not for nothing, but it does seem like Burning Witches is super more serious, situation for you. Like, do you feel kind of closed in where you can't sort of do that goofy stuff yet, or is
Oh no, they are completely nuts too. So
right on.
I remember the first rehearsal before we had to go on the Monsters Rock cruise or whatever it was. It was just Laura wasn't there, but I was staying in Switzerland. You know, they have a lockout room where everyone jams, and you know, they had a bunch of their closest friends there because they wanted to see this, you know, new girl, blah blah. And then we just did, you know, the laughs started and just shooting shit, and then you know, they just turned around like, wow, we just have this feeling you've been in the band since day one. They were just really shocked. I'll just, you know, just melted in a sense. But yeah, I mean, completely nuts too. Now imagine, you know, they're on the same level of humor. And I'll imagine both bands touring together. And that was the East Coast tour. It was, I'm surprised I didn't have a lot more videos of that, but I, you know, didn't know if they like being filmed or not. But I think we had so many people fired at all the hotels because we would break into the pool area until 5 a.m. Just laughing. It's just to be a fly on the wall. It was a lot of fun. No TVs were thrown out the window because they were screwed into the wall. So
right, yeah,
That's the only reason. We tried.
How many maiden witches does it take to rip a flat screen off of a Holiday Inn wall at 3 a.m.?
Jack, it's fun.
But it's not as much fun to smash a flat screen as the old fat back CRT screens from back in the day. I mean,
we're not paying for the room, so why not?
All right. And on that note, make sure your hotels have plenty of insurance.
I think I hear the cops knocking on the door right now.
The Gestapo, as they call them in Germany. I don't know what they call them in German, but I think that's German.
The Visa, something like that.
Need to get the Babelfish version of German to learn some of the languages.
I just know all the bad words, but you know.
Right, right. What all American metalheads know how to curse just from Rammstein. I mean, that's how I learned the majority of German is from their songs.
That's Rammstein. It's if you actually translate what the lyrics are, you'd be like, what? It just
Yeah.
it's just so basic, like left, links, left.
Right.
Five, drive, here, links. 1, 2, 3, 4 left. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, but again, it's going back to that language. It's like Klingon. Sorry to get nerdy on you. When they say whatever they say, it just has that guttural, like this means something like really brutal. It's like, no, it just means I asked you for this and I said no.
Have a nice day.
Although they do have the mind tile, the mind part tile. That whole scenario of that song is brutal as shit. Like seriously, I did the deep dive of like, well, what is this song about? And then you find out what it's about, and we'll put a link down the bottom for the kids to find out that
Great
subject matter of my part, based on a true story. But anyway, so back to fun stuff that's not related to that. Some questions here on our tombstone of death for Courtney Cox here is did you have a favorite Burning Witches song to learn? And I'll combine this with another question that's song related. What was the hardest, song for you to learn of theirs to reincorporate your style into previous guitarists? And what is one easier, like, both sides of the coin on those learning those songs?
Favorite song is kind of hard. I always say that. What's your favorite song?
What's your favorite band? What's your favorite song? There's so many. What's your favorite Maiden songs? It's like, why would you ask that? They're all Maiden songs. So
something like how I feel. Like, what mood am I in? Like,
right.
I could be, I can go so cliche. Like, my favorite ones are the ones I play on. I did solo on. No. I love the set we're doing now, or the 2 sets that we do. I really love playing Witch of the North. Really love that song. Lucid Nightmare. Really love, obviously, Dark Tower. Love Unleashed Beast. Get them on it. Love it. And then even just the first song I ever wrote, Burning Witches. Burning Witches. We always end with that. And I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And after every show, and I know it's coming. And like, okay, last song. I look at Jay, like, okay, ready? We're gonna fucking headbang. And I should know better at my age. My neck's already destroyed. Doctors say stop headbanging, but I'm not. And then like the very end of the song, we'll extend it because that riff is so heavy. Then I'll start windmilling it, and in the back of my head, I'm like, what are you doing? In that song, and it's just. Oh, just when you think you're tired, that song starts off. I wake up and I'm just like, guys, where's the fucking Starbucks?
The broken windmill is just like,
I think the next song we're gonna write is Snack Crackle Pop, because that's all you hear all day while we're moving. And then learning was difficult for me. Just. Learning anything, doesn't matter if it's witches, Maiden, be hard stuff like cacophony. If I'm in the mood to learn it, it is easy. My thing has always been, if I can sing the melody, I can sing the solo to myself. Oh, it's done, because do most of the stuff by ear, so it's just finding the intervals. And if you know your intervals, it's easier to. And even if the guitar player, they all have the same patterns, I should say.
Right.
He with witches stuff, which was completely new to me, that made it difficult. is singing and playing. Because in the Maidens, when I first joined, there was only a couple songs like you'll sing here, and Linda will sing there, Wanda will sing that one. But coming into the Witches, they've never, and I mean, each album's vocal harmonies, and they haven't really had that live. So I'm like, oh, I can sing, I can do harmonies. And it's just like foot and mouth. Like, was a couple of songs is like, okay, every song. And that's why I couldn't be I was unable to play drums, it's just this, and I really have to focus because it's squirrel brain for me, and like, oh, what part of the song, it's the second person. Am I supposed to be singing right now? I mean, it's a lot easier now, but first couple shows, and I don't get nervous at all ever, but I was just so worried, like, and you're playing like, shit, what's the second word? What's the second word? So I'd have these little sheets down. And it's like you write too small, or like your contact gets blurred. Like, I can't read the word. What's the word? Or the fans grab the cheat sheets like the minute it's like the last note. I'm like, fuck. They know I have a cheat sheet. But eventually got the words down and stuff. But still, the hard thing for me, even to this day, especially with new songs coming in, the switching of the set list, it's for me. I think it's 80% music, 20% performing, and then everyone's levels are different. But don't perform unless the notes are there, that kind of thing. And for me, it was easy in Maidens because I didn't have to sing all the time, so I could run around. Everything's great. I don't have to worry about anything. Muscle memory. Now. All right, I'm gonna cross the shot. Oh, nope, gotta sing. Oh, gonna cross. Nope, gotta sing. Like double dutch, like or like someone's like trying to go back. Like, no, this is my time to cross. No. I have 5 seconds to get back for the next vocal harmony. And you can't show it on your face too, because they're watching you like a hawk. So the hard part is putting on a good show and not messing up your time to sing and move around and put on a show. So I think that's the difficult thing.
Yeah.
I had to explain it. See, my brain just went, what am I talking about? Answer the question.
No, that's, you know what? It's perfect. That's just our way. So if you weren't like that before, you're definitely going to be more like that now. It's just how people talk, like you're talking about running across the stage and stuff. And I'm like, I wonder why more people don't use the wireless mics like some of the more active pop musicians do. But then it's not as cool.
Talking shit the whole time.
Oh,
I can turn it on and off.
Yeah. And if you walk close to the drum kit or something, then all you hear is cymbals and every time you have to burp, it's like
I think that would be cool to hear.
That makes one of us.
Like you're like chugging away. It's like
so a lot of people, it's one that really annoys me about like social media and seeing some artists live and this and that. It is hard, but it's a very thin line of putting on a good show. There's 3 categories. You're bored and focusing too much, so you're not performing. The sweet spot where it's natural, and then 3 do I call it an ambulance because it looks like you're having a stroke? If that makes sense. It's just finding that natural. I couldn't even. I don't want to say names. They just look natural. Like Eddie Van Halen. It was like a part of them, just walking around. It could be smoking, drinking. But it's just it was a part of him. Whereas some people, it just looks like they're holding something that's too hot. It's like they're afraid to hold their instrument or social media. We all know this, the creepy, why are you staring at me like that? We've seen them, right? It's just like
quit
creepy.
looking at the camera.
Can you not do that again, please? I'm like having a thing here. Like
it's either that one or the wrestler personality that like you're just constantly like, hello brother, like what are check out our new single.
Where it's like, They do a bend and it's like,
Mhm.
I don't know, it's free entertainment for me, not
Yeah.
talking to you, but
Yeah.
some it's, dude, what are you on right now? Sharing
It's life. I'm on life on stage. What more could you want?
like, do you own a mirror? Just look like do that in the mirror. Like if you get creeped out, maybe you should just take it down a notch. Just take it down.
Right.
Turn the camera off.
And I think all of those categories you could find from the Iron Maiden original band. Adrian always had the like he was the one that was like there. And then you have Dave Murray that was like, he might be stroking out a little bit. And then towards the newer, generation 5 with Yannick, I think that guy, and I have to bring this up anytime it fits the conversation. He's so happy to be in Iron Maiden. Like that guy, he could be a roadie or he could be like somebody's drum seat. But if he was in Maiden, it doesn't matter as long as he's in it, because he has so much fun just being in that band. I've never met the guy, but out of all the band members, it seems like to me he gets it because, okay, maybe not accuracy wise, he's not the tightest player, but he sells the presentation more so than he needs to be a proficient player. And it's just, I always watch live new videos that come out if he's on. I'm like, I want to see what he's doing. Like, where's he at? Like, he's over there. He's down here. He's running around. But he also doesn't have to sing, so that could be a big part of it as well.
I'm really good friends with his guitar tech, and he had one guitar, it was like his first guitar that he would use, and he'd always end up like smashing it. And my friend, when the show's over, had to go out, try to find that one piece, and he always did. I don't know how he did. And then put the guitar back together just for him to rinse and repeat, break it again.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. He could just air tag all the pieces of the guitar. It's like, well, this horn's gonna break here. This part next to the strap button's gonna go. So we just seek them out, but it probably breaks in the very similar place once that happens. Although the glues nowadays are a lot of times more strong than, or have more strength than the wood, so it breaks around the glue area. But hey, let's talk about your guitars. I see greenies in the background there. We have a lot of questions pertaining to guitars and maybe some gear. I don't know if you're like a gear nerd or if it's like, this is what I've always used. Let's stick with that. If people don't know, you're the only female endorsee on Comparison at the moment.
That stuff, but
Not that they have to say, but there's not many guitar companies out there supporting, but they always make it a marketing thing. But it's very cool. And you were on Jackson before, and a lot of people might not know that Comparison and Jackson have like a family history back in the 90s. Comparison is a Japanese manufacturer, and did a lot of the early Charvel Jacksons that were made in Japan. They worked as a team. So people, somebody was like, oh, why did you switch from this to this? And if they knew or even Googled stuff, they would see they were like sibling companies back in the day. But yeah, would you like to talk about your signature guitar? And maybe I understand there's something new coming out in the works you maybe aren't able to talk about, but how did that transition into getting a signature model and things like that for you?
Yeah, I was with Jackson for a long time. I think I joined Jackson, I was around 15. That was before I even, I started touring at 15. And so we had a long history. And like you mentioned, that people did the research, there is a very, very close connection between Jackson and Comparison. Comparison luthier was the main person for Jackson in the 90s, but I think he actually created the Dinky, the Kelly, I mean, a lot of one of the most famous shapes. I think the Warrior, he did all those. And then if I got the story straight, I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but Jackson built the factory out of Japan for some reason, and he just this luthier and stole a comparison, started a comparison. So I mean, at the end of the day, since this guy created all this shit, it's Jackson. And there was no bad blood. A lot of people think like when you go to a different company, like, oh, they must have treated her like crap. Like, no, it's just I was always interested in comparison because, you know, Andy the Rock, King Diamond, he had a really like lava one like the day, and that's how I first even heard of this company. And then it was about 8 years ago, you know, I was fortunate to get a Horus in my hand, which is what my signature model is based off of. And it just, the quality, the tone, the size, shape of the neck, just everything was just perfect about it. And not saying that my Jacksons weren't perfect, but, you know, I was getting stuck in that tribute world again, you know, because I just had Adrian Smith models. And, you know, they made me an Adrian Smith green. But even for me, looking into the future, I just had this feeling, and like I said, nothing negative or anything, like, I just kind of, and it might sound egotistical to a point, but it's like, I didn't want to be a little fish in a big pond. I kind of, and I'm not going to say a big fish because I'm not, but I just wanted to be
larger than average.
A small pond, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
And then I kept, you know, it's just, the guitars were great. And then the opportunity for a signature model came up. And yeah, sure. And, you know, I was like, is there anything you want to change? Like, it only, I mean, I think I had the pickups change or something, but not much because my Horus was already perfect for me. You know, and I know some people like, you know, well, get the signature model, you know, oh, everything's great, and then they just completely change everything. But like nothing was wrong with the model before. I think the heel's a little different on mine, a little deeper. But other than that, I just love it. It's perfect. But yeah, then she's the only female thing. She's like, God, I don't know if I'm the only one that views it this way. You know, a lot of people find me annoying for saying stuff because I'm not some like female cheerleader every 5 seconds. I'm like, yeah, I'm female, yeah, cool, and I have a signature model, but I don't view it as I'm first, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what do I put a gold star on my fridge? You know, it kind of means nothing. You know, it doesn't really,
Right.
you know, it doesn't change my sleeping pattern knowing that I'm the first woman on a team, you know.
Right. Right. And I mean, honestly, your mindset is more of the norm now. Who wants to be singled out for their gender when they're in entertainment? It's like,
we're close enough. You're just putting a target on you, you know? It's
right. Like,
Like,
okay, if someone can't understand this person is female, we're going to make sure they know. It's like, you don't have to do that.
no, so me and Nita, like Jen, we always have this joke because it'll always be the same question. What's it like being a female musician? And we just go, I don't know. And the people have no idea how to react because they're like, I don't know. I wake up and I can do this. You know? Like,
yeah. Hey, I can do that too. I'm going to use that if someone ever asks me that question.
It's like, what do you say? It's like, I don't know. It's like you can go into the SNL, like the Oyster Cult thing. I put my pants on one leg, you know, pant leg at a time, just like the rest of you. You know, it's like,
yeah, with a cowbell. Ding, ding.
Yeah, I think it's more cowbell.
Yeah. Again, we had talked about this pre-recording. Guys are just cringe and they're creepy, and it's always, well, I won't say always.
You know what? It's everyone.
Right. I was gonna say, taking Jack's advice not to always say everyone or everything. It's not always that. So I corrected myself mid-flight. A lot of times you see it more, and especially like people submitting questions. You're not getting cringe-worthy questions from female fans typically. You know, but it's guys' insecurity. They want to come off like they're cool, and she's gonna read my comment, and hey, and just like in my basement typing.
I'm in the door now. She read my comment about her tits, right?
Right. So if any of these guys watch this, you're gonna get a barrage of. So what's it like being a female musician? Just for the double pump action response, because they're crafty like that. But
It's one of those things where like the more that you know that we laugh at you for doing that, the sooner you'll stop doing it. So just let it be known. And you're gonna get made fun of whether you hear about it or not. So like just know that it's not cool. It's hilarious.
right. It's like the saying when a group of people are laughing as you walk by and you're like, they're laughing at me probably. And it's typically like, no, they're not laughing. It's like, yes, they are laughing at you.
Read the room, dude.
Yeah. And what really blows their minds is with more trans people involved in music in the world. It's like, well, are you going to ask a male transitioning to female? Are you going to ask them the same question? You know, are you going to be cringy across the gender spectrum? Or are you just going to focus on one category? Like, does that blow their minds to think about? Hopefully.
Go through this. It's just and you just sit there, like, you read the question, and like, you know, if you're in a room with your friends, like, did you just read this? Like, where did they, you know, to waste 3 seconds of your life to write something like this, thinking it's cool, or are you trying to be funny, or this or that? I mean, even God, I used to love back in the day, you know, when dick pics were all the rage, because, you know, guys thought, you know, all these, you know, women musicians and stuff really, really got off looking at some flaccid penis on Facebook. And I would go out of my way because I had to, because it was just constant, and it was just, we just end up laughing half the time. But then I just found the pleasure in, you know, going on their page, either finding their wife or their mother, and then taking a screenshot and just say the dick pic stopped.
Right.
But why?
It's the one thing guys can't resist is themselves.
Yeah, the ego and the mini id, as it were, coming into play. It's funny because you had mentioned this, Courtney, in your video drop one questions is, if someone Googles you, of course, first they get friends, and the guy that's like, rest in peace.
I know, I saw that. Like,
I'm like, how do you think this is the same person? How do you think that?
I have no clue. And like most of the times when I bring it up on my page, you know, I get trolled like, oh, okay, it must suck to, you know, be famous and stuff like that. I'm like, no, you don't get it. I am tagged literally every day. And you think, how do you not know it's not the actress? Because it's a photo of me. Why would Courtney Cox, the actress, have her Instagram name as CCSHRED? And it gets
branching out.
It gets so really bad. Like, I had actors from Cougar Town messaging my Instagram asking if I can get them more airtime in the show.
Be like, yeah, can you get me to play the intro music for the show? I'll trade you.
And I'm just like, you cannot be this dumb. You know? Like,
well, I mean, Hollywood / done.
It's not even just Hollywood. I mean, like, also, right, so the singer in my band is female as well, and like people will interviewing her, like, say her name wrong to her face, and she'll correct them, and they'll continue to say it wrong. Like, it's not, or spelling, like it's right there. Like, they'll be typing an email to her. Her email address is, you know, her name with some other shit. And you can see how to spell this, but you're not taking the time to look at that and type that. Like, it's like, if it weren't so ignorant, you would think it's like intentionally disrespectful. Like, just how stupid it is.
The best at that was Kirsten, because, and I would always be next to her in an interview. So Kristen, and you just poke her. Poke the bear, poke the bear. You're gonna see it on her
Right.
face, smile like I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Right. And but you can understand that if someone is doing an interview, they don't know, they didn't research anything, and they just look down. It's like, oh, Kristen, because like I had to really sit down, and I know Kirstens and Kristens, and I always have to stop and pause and be like, this is
it I or
Kirsten.
R?
This is
I or R?
right, right. And you have to say it Kirsten. Some pronounce it Kirsten with a long E, and some say Kirsten. And then there's the Kristens, you know. But it's just taking the time to be like, I respect this person and I don't want to be an idiot. But definitely if they correct you, it's like, okay, you don't double down on being a moron. You plan ahead and say, well, this is their name. Like, has anyone ever said, oh, Courtney, why don't you just go by Court or Cox, or why don't you change your name? Like the Michael Bolton bit from Office Space.
Shred CC.
Yeah, but then you've got CC DeVille. Like if you're just
yeah,
CC,
I got that. Yeah.
and to be honest, you could be mistaken for a younger CC before you'd be mistaken for Courtney Friends, just, you know, being in a guitarist and hair and looking more similar to that person being a guitar player. But is there a Friends reunion coming up anytime soon?
I swear it was like anything with Friends, like God, when the reunion thing was happening, it was my Facebook ding ding ding. And like people are like, why are you so pissed off? And like October, because there's another fucking Scream movie coming out. Like, I'm not gonna be able to go on my phone for a week. And sure enough, Courtney Cox joins Courtney. Sorry, see, I'm even doing it now. Courtney Cox, scream, 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 scream. And thankfully, I think no, she didn't die in the last one. Or did she? I don't know.
More of the same. Well, that's fun. That's good to know that it's universal with just people being people, really, I guess.
Favorite one though actually is it was over the last month or so. We have something that just keeps going like, oh, you killed Kurt Cobain. I'm like, that's Courtney Love. That's complete like whole other.
What?
Is like for real?
And I have a lot of questions, but I learned to stop asking questions. Yeah.
What's worse, being accused of killing Kurt Cobain or getting dick pics from a rando? Courtney, what's your take?
That's hard.
But Courtney won on port.
Good Lord. I mean, at that point, is it like everybody who has the same name is the same person? Like it's just the first name at that point.
Well, it's like everywhere I go, like I have to show my ID or passport, and it's always the same line. Oh, I bet you get this a lot. And then I go real fast. I do, so don't say it. And then they go into it. I'm like, okay, yes. It's like Office Space. It's the same thing. We don't like it, let it go.
Right. Well, you know, you may need to embrace it this time around and get you a little carry-on like whiteboard and get little checks and see like who you get the best responses from. Like how many times on this tour is someone going to bring up my name?
Or just try to get like upgrades at hotels or the airline.
You know what? I would totally try that if I had someone's famous name, but I'd change my name. I spell it different and people still think I'm a producer guy. There's another guy that's like like fitness or something. I'm like, look at me. Do I look like a fitness guy? No, I don't. But like, what are you going to do if people want to take the time, you know, which I can imagine you being you in bands and touring, the amount of just unmentionable messages you get constantly, but owning a company, myself owning a couple companies, people want like an endorsement. It's like, you didn't even spell my name right. So you're going to get this carbon copy. You're gonna get this CC and shred your information because I don't want you on my roster. It's like, what do you expect? It's like, it's so weird. Get my name right, figure out a little bit, Google a few things, and like send me some music. It blows my mind that people will ask for like an endorsement and like they don't send me any music. I'm like, if I have to ask you for music to listen to your band to endorse you. Like, why am I going to work to follow some unknown person? Like, make it easy for me, at least.
I forget what company it was, and they had the best online, fill in for an endorsement. And then when it got to around question 15, and it says, "I can't believe you're still filling this out because you have no chance." It's something that it was so good.
Oh my God. That is awesome. That's so
amazing.
awesome.
Touche, bravo.
Was the guitar company, you think?
The guitar company, yeah.
Yeah. All right, hold on. I gotta Google that.
I'm gonna add that to my Tinder profile or something.
Yeah, like I'll do that in things where it's someone's reading. It's like, I can't believe you read this far. So if you actually read this far, I would swing the other direction. I'd be like, you have a shot. I can't believe you read all the way down to this and are still doing this. Because, like, I'll put a different email at the very bottom of the criteria. And if someone actually clicks on that, because I had a separate link for bases, like if someone wanted a base endorsement, and I would never get anyone clicking on it. So I had to move it up. Like, now I don't have a bass one anymore, but like I had to move it around because I put, I wrote up a little thing like, this is what we're looking for, and click here for a bass endorsement, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think I got more responses from like, you just joined Facebook and Google is notifying you an update, and like no bass player endorsements. So that was a bummer, because we do tend to have more bass players playing our stuff, which is cool. But I guess they don't read. Nothing against Peter, who's Jack's bass player we talked to yesterday. He's outside of this conversation, but maybe the bass players don't quite read to the bottom, which they're bass players. The root dot. Okay.
All the jokes.
Anyway, so do you have, we'll just skip some questions here and get to more touring stuff, because we do have some insightful questions to run by you. Do you have some pet peeves while on tour? Things bother you? Someone brushing their teeth in front of you, for example, is that a big thing for you? What's that?
Yeah, that's one. Most people should know this now. Yeah, I hate the sound of people brushing their teeth. It's complete nails on a chalkboard, and even if it's in a movie or commercial, I have to leave the room. And of course, you've probably seen Kirsten, here come again in the back on tour, just brushing your teeth, following me around. I know that looked terrible. Sorry.
Next week on Metal Injection.
It takes on my mind right now. Sorry.
And we're like, she's gone from friends to friends with benefits. It's Courtney Cox.
Savage.
I can't stand it. The other thing would be more serious for me. I know it's inevitable, the hurry up and wait thing. But when the band for once is on time or ready to go, and I forget what venue or whatever it was. I'm not going to name names because you're there on time.
Well, we can always bleep it later too if you think about it.
Okay. Let me get my list out. Let's go.
You're like, not to name names, but I was in Hamburg. There really wasn't a good vibe at the venue, and the stage manager Carl was not the best.
No, because time, especially on tour, especially if you're driving on tour, like a lot of the stuff we did in the States means was, shuttle vans and stuff, and the drives would be really long. But you call a venue, we're ready for you, gear set up, just roll in sound check. I'm like, okay, arrive, stage completely empty. And it turns into hurry up and wait. And there's 3 other bands that have a sound check. So you're sitting around waiting. There's no catering yet because it's after sound check. And I am a really nice person, but sometimes it'll push me over the edge, and it's very rare that I'll show it on my face because you want to be polite and don't want to have a reputation. I probably do. But it's how do you control it? It's like, yeah, we've been late and stuff like that. But when you're told, ready for you and stuff, and it's a complete blatant lie. That's a really big pet peeve for me. And then finally you're ready to sound check, then it's all right, we gotta rush. We gotta get the other bands up here. And it's like, I don't want to be a prick, but who's headlining?
Mm.
It's like a very thin line, but that's for me on a serious note, biggest pet peeve of touring and stuff is just I like things to be on time because you gotta everything's timed in your day, loaded, sound check, dinner, or what time do you have to get ready for the show, meet and greet, this and that. So if there's any wrench in the mix, it could ruin a whole day for anyone. But I would say, yeah, that's my biggest pet peeve.
At the very least, like, don't call and say, yeah, we're totally ready for you if you're not. Like, yeah, like if you show up and it's running late, like, fine, sucks, but I get it. But like, don't call and lie about it.
Don't lie to 5 women who are hungry and tired. Okay.
Yeah. What's the point of lying about it? Like, you're just making it worse.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like a very American scenario, though, Jack. I mean, I'm sure it happens in Europe, but the simple fact that a venue. So we sent a box of coffee to a venue for Jack's band for a tour 2 years ago with Dragon Force. We were told where to send it, who to sign for it, the whole nine. So we send it, pay extra, blah blah blah. Gets there, no one signs for it. But the venue's like, oh yeah, we got it. It's here for them. They'll be here in 2 days. No worries.
Bullshit.
Right. So like a day ahead of time, I'm like, you know what? I just want to make sure this is right. This is several $100s worth of merch here that the band needs to keep going to pay their salaries. And it's like, I don't see it here. And this is all email. You don't ever get someone on the phone. It's here somewhere. It's set aside. We know it's for them, whatever. But then a couple hours later, it's like, no, this other fill in the blank band that I'm not going to mention, but they're total a-holes. Their tour manager, their roadie, took the box and it had a big sticker of his band of Spires on the side and on the top and their name, everything. This other band's roadie or something, they took it and they've got it, but they're playing another venue 2 days later. They're going to leave it there. I'm like, okay, I guess that's workable, but not acceptable. And so like a carbon copy, the next day I contact the other venue and they're like, there's no boxes here. So myself, Pete, the manager, a venue promoter, like it took 4 people to try to figure out this thing. And ultimately, to be honest, the promoter, and this is it's in Missouri, the promoter was like, how much was this worth? And they reimbursed us like the cost, because it was taken by a band. Because why would a band even say they had it? Like, why were they even involved? Like, they told the promoter that they had it and we're going to leave it. And it's just a chaotic thing. It's like, I'd have sent you guys some coffee too if you want, but like, don't steal, and then don't say you have it and then you don't have it. So circling back to the whole thing, is I could totally see someone, hey, yeah, come on down, we're all ready to go. And then you show up and the doors aren't even unlocked. Like,
with your story, I had that. It stemmed from the Accept tour. I was playing in a certain country, which will remain nameless, and
Austria.
No, they cool with me. They cool. No, I left a very expensive custom cable that I use for the effects loop into my pedal board, and the foot switch to the Friedman I had on tour. So I called the next day. Oh, there's nothing here. There's nothing here, and I knew it was in a box, the cable with this pedal, in a sealed box. So I keep pressuring the promoter, keep like, oh, the only thing we found was this, and it was just the Friedman pedal. I'm like, well, if you have the Friedman pedal, then you have the cable, because that was in the same box that was sealed. And then then complete silence. And then the Witches played this venue. Oh, see, I can't be too. You'll know exactly where.
They played the same venue sometime later, 2 years later.
And I'm like, is this cable? I had a photo of it and everything. You're like, oh no, we'll have to check. No, it's been too long. It's probably gone by now. I'm just like, you know what? You know what? It's just gone. Someone took it. But yeah, that same kind of thing. But yeah, big pet peeve.
Yeah,
Super annoying.
thieving is not cool, folks.
Can't get time back, as I say. So
Yeah. But on a positive note, speaking of touring, you've just released some upcoming US dates with
Yes.
Burning Witches, which looks sort of cool, but of course the East Coast is lacking, as most bands we want to stay away from. No,
what that is, you know, post COVID, it's a lot of, as musicians know, man, we are just told where to go. And I always hate posting dates because it's always the, oh, why aren't
What
you playing
about
in the
my city?
backyard?
Yeah, yeah.
guilty, but I do it as a joke because everybody expects me to be like, well, he's gonna bitch because no one's coming to Virginia. I'm like, it's not just me. It would be different if it was just I was the one guy saying no one wants to play in Virginia, but it's not. It's a lot.
My favorite thing is like, oh, you never play insert, you know, city here. Like, dude, we were there last night.
Right.
I didn't know. We didn't tell me. Like, oh, sorry, I didn't scam you. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
you
what do you
didn't
mean you
respond.
didn't tell me?
Like,
I
you never,
sent you.
you
Go
know,
ahead.
it seems like, you know, not to go off on a tangent, but the
No,
thing
go
you
ahead.
do with Burning Witches, like, there's still comments like, when did this happen? Like I didn't make a big post about it. You know, if you follow me on my socials, you obviously just, I don't know.
It's
Yeah,
like the
crazy.
background image of their Facebook page is the tour dates. Like every band does that.
Like, when you come in here? Like, we were just there 2 days ago.
Right. It's like,
You know-
that's not enough. You did not respond to my 842 DMs that specifically say, when are you playing here? That they sent a day after you played in their town.
Yeah, there's
My favorite one is like the questions of like or asking the band members why you're not playing a city, or like, are you going to add shows here? And it's like, I have no idea, and it's not my job to give a shit. Like, ask somebody else.
I did have one that's like, oh, are you gonna add any more to this next run? Like, do you know these dates are booked months and months in advance? Like, if anything was gonna be added, they would have been added already. And you don't just add shows last second because there's no promotion. Like, how are you gonna sell tickets unless, you know, unless you have a good walk up, you know? But it's like, you don't just announce a show the day before. You know, it's career suicide basically.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the only time you see that is when a venue like shut down and you were supposed to play, and another venue or promoter says, they're in town, we want to come in and save the day, we need people to come out. Like fixing someone else's fuck up is kind of where you see that. But it's just
in my hometown, like, you know, like, oh wait, there's a venue in Delco that'll probably have us, and we just went and ended up playing in the parking lot, and it was a good fucking time. That was last second, it was packed. So,
yeah. Like someone asked when you're playing Alaska, which if people don't know, Maiden's played Alaska, and it's, I guess there's a big local following in Alaska for Native Americans there, Eskimo population. But you know, of course, my wishy flippy brain is like, they'll play Alaska before they'll play Virginia, and it's true, they probably will. But you know, it's like you said, I didn't really realize until honestly talking more with Jack and stuff. And a lot of people, I'm sure, just don't know that the band really doesn't have much say in the touring. They might be, well, we're going to go through my hometown or where my base is, so cool, I can actually stop at my house and take a shower and things like that, you know. So if people want to see a band in a certain town, I don't know, it should be easier for people to understand that. But that's just management and booking agencies aren't really in touch with the fan base, or the bands half the time.
Do you want to tour in this time frame? Yes, that's all we say. No, then the manager and booking agent take over, then we get the dates and flights.
Yeah. Or like also like doing support tours and stuff, and then people ask you why the tour isn't going, and I'm like, I don't know, take it up with like Dragon Force or whoever's like, we just said yes
we're gonna stop the
to
tour
this
and rearrange
poster.
it.
Yeah, it's like we get the thing and we say yes or no, and that's it. Like,
It's too far. Play here. Okay, be right there.
do you know how
Right.
far we're driving every day?
Yeah.
Then I would have some, really excited fans, and then they'll comment like, "I'm flying in from Japan, dude."
Yeah.
Right. So it's like the guy that won't go, 45 minutes, it's me. It's just not a big enough fan because someone will fly from Japan, or it'll be this nightmare called here in Virginia where people flew here from Australia for this festival, and it is a complete mind F and F fuck and everything you could possibly put an F bomb in is this thing that happens here. And a big thing now, they're investigating this festival because there was no clean restrooms or water. So you can imagine when the restroom situation and the clean water situation do a little bit of this, like there's like thousands of people sick from this thing. And so that doesn't help Virginia trying to get like legit national known bands to play here anymore.
I would always drive to Virginia. I think was it Jax was in Virginia, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, up in Springfield. We went to one of the last shows there. They closed probably 5 or so years ago. But
bands there.
Yeah. Basically, it was kind of almost like what happened with CBGB's. The landlord's like, we don't want this here anymore. We can put in a Dunkin' Donuts and get 3 times the amount of money, and there's no trash and no vandalism in the parking lot. Every weekend.
Thank you for saying Dunkin' Donuts. I don't believe in this Dunkin' bullshit. It's Dunkin' Donuts.
Right. I mean, I still call the little tic-tac-toe sign like that's a pound sign. Why did it turn into this other thing? Oh, it's because I'm old. That's why I call that. But words change with the generational gaps that are out there, I suppose.
They don't change.
But it is what it is, as they say. Do you have a preference of, and I'm generalizing because you're really answering, like you answered like 20 questions in that last journey we went on. So sorry if we don't get somebody's name and specific questions. I'll just bring this up because everybody asked every single guest about 70,000 tons. So it's almost like our F-bomb ritual. Everyone wants to know if people are playing that. It's like, here's how you know. You go to 70,000 tons site and it has the band playing next year listed, and you don't bother the artist in the band that doesn't book anyway with asking them when they're going to play somewhere.
There's no invention called Google. You should look into it.
Yeah, like if you're supposed to know about it, it'll be out there. You can find it. You don't have to add, like if the artist hasn't said something about it, they're either not playing it or they can't say if they are. So shut up.
Yeah, or just burning witches.
It's not Metallica anyway, so let's just
right. Oh, so 2 things in. So burning witches, they're just incompetent and don't want you to know they're playing on the largest boat festival tour.
It's a secret.
Right. Or
every night. That's it.
Yeah, you should join their Patreon, and you'll find out really where they're playing. So you did mention Kirk Hammett, which I do want to touch on that because one of your influences obviously is Kirk. And, you got to meet him and stuff. That's super awesome. So I don't want to be like, oh, what was it like meeting him? But he's one of those guys that, as a kid, and being of Filipino heritage, he was like the guy we related to as kids, because he was Filipino, and back in the day it was like you had Death Angel, which were all Filipino cousins and brothers, and like Kirk Hammett, and it was like, wow, that's cool. This is a Filipino guy like representing, and it was into toys and all this cool stuff. Legitimately, I would just like to know, like, how did that come about? Like, did he know who you were? Was it like you just randomly went to a show, or how did you land Hammett? That seems like a pretty big get.
That sounded really bad.
I'll bleep that out in post.
I'll leave
How did you meet?
Damn
it.
I need to know my mind's in the gutter. Come on.
It's getting late there, right? Yeah, so you're.
I know I'm fine. No, Kirk was the reason I picked up guitar, and I mean, obsession doesn't even begin to cover the. Oh God, I had to play the Dunlop green picks. I had to get the caution hot guitar. I had to get the Ernie Ball strings. I mimicked his stage moves, everything note for note. I mean, I had the light switch in my bedroom was Kirk Hammett. The posters everywhere, the toys.
Well, how many wah pedals of his do you have?
Oh, I only have his custom one.
Oh, just his? Yeah, with the foot logo.
I use a wah pedal when I'm playing Metallica songs. But I had everything. I had, jewelry made that his name on it, and I was just so obsessed, so like almost embarrassing obsessed. Like Metallica shirt, Metallica hat,
Stalker. Yeah. Like well, see, that's the difference. If you were Stalker, be like, no.
Even playing sports, like my lacrosse jersey was Courttal-ica and my number was 83. It's like, oh God.
Wow.
But yeah, I never get starstruck. I mean, all my idols I pretty much had met, except at this time for Kirk. And my friend Doc from God forbid Bad Wolves, and Mark Angel.
Yeah, great guy.
Do you want to come see the wedding band in Napa? I think it was. I'm like, yeah, sure. Not even thinking there would be even a chance in hell in meeting Kirk. But watch the show, and then it was like, all right, come backstage. I'm like, what? Huh? And like I have never been so nervous. It actually, I thought I'm having a panic attack or something, because it's like, everyone's like, are you all right? I'm like, I am not controlling this right now. I don't get nervous about anything. Walking through his backstage doors, I'm like, oh God, like hyperventilating, like I need the bag to breathe into. And I'm like, what, Courtney, who are you right now? And I remember we were just
it's Courttal-ica, damn it.
Courttal-ica. My brother still calls me Courttal-ica as a joke. We're sitting in this room, it's Tom and the doctor and Mark. And he only just popped his head in for a second. And Doc's like, dude, I have never seen someone turn so red so fast. And I was so embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God, there he is. What do I say? What do I say? What do I say? And he laughs. And I was like, dude, relax. I'm like, you don't understand.
Right. Yeah, like.
I did not expect this. I had no time to prepare. I don't even know what to say.
I didn't bring my contacts. I'm wearing glasses. My shoes don't match.
Still trying to get the complexion of my face to not be lobster. And
sure.
Then I started talking to Mark. I was like, oh man, I can't believe Kirk wrote it. And he's like, you've never met Kirk before? I'm like, no. He's like, wait a second. I'm like, oh no. No.
That's like if someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes, Ray.
And then he walks in again, and I'm like, oh no. But this time I had my composure, I had my composure.
Right. You're like, oh, that's Kirk Hammett. Oh, Kirk, how are you doing?
Stop your hand. And he introduced me, and we just started shooting shit. And then, Doc, Ted Barris, and he came up and like, yeah, she could smoke both of us on guitar. I'm like, yeah, great, thanks. Awkward.
He's like, really? Oh, here, let's see. You're like, is this for me?
You're having the talk, it's going great, but in the back of my head, I'm like, please don't say something stupid. Don't say something stupid. And he brought up something like, oh, did you see there's like girls on Instagram, they harmonize the Creeping Death solo. And I'm just like, come on, a Justice for All solo. Come on, let's see. And I'm like, oh, Courtney, foot and mouth, just But as a musician, I know the last thing you want to talk about is like music or solo or something. Like, oh, you're being that girl right now. Or
it's like the solo, it's the one solo that James did. It's like that solo on Orion is just amazing. That was James's.
Why don't you play this or that song? I was like, Courtney, stop it now, stop it now. I completely got off that tangent. We're just, talking normal. So like,
Yeah.
I took the photo, thanked him for his time, and I was on cloud nine. Like, I can't believe I'm calling my mom. Like, Mom, guess who I just met?
She's like, Kirk Hammett.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah.
No, my mom, I think she was just like, finally. Yeah, I was so shocked how I reacted because, like I said, I've met Adrian Smith. I've met pretty much all my heroes and nothing.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, like Kirk Hammett is like for metal guitar players.
He's unreachable.
Yeah, I had a funny incident. I've never really talked fully with like Dave Mustaine, which I wasn't really. I'm not a fan of him as a person. But everything with Marty Friedman and Nick Menza,
yeah,
he's that album and the things they did, rest in peace, is groundbreaking for me. But NAMM's a big thing. We used to attend and go, and it's pretty much like everybody that's nobody that wants to be somebody is there, and then a bunch of famous people will get paid or endorsed and like have to be there.
Disneyland, that's what we call it now.
Right. And so I had a situation with a guy previously mentioned, and he thought he was being funny and flirty with my partner, who I'm with still now, and it just wasn't cool. So I made a point to shout out Metallica Rules Kirk Hammett leaving his booth, and rightfully had security called, and I was escorted from that particular guitar manufacturer's booth. But I'm like, dude, if you're gonna hash it out, you gotta be able to like deal with it back. I'm like, you're not Kirk Hammett. I don't respect everything you're gonna say to me. But I even feel like it was mentioned later on, like it must happen a lot, because I want to say Some Kind of Monster, he says it's one of his pet peeves. It's like Metallica Rules, and I just one-upped it. But this was before that came out. This was early 2000s, I would say. I was at NAMM because I wasn't involved as a manufacturer, which I did go to a NAMM and saw at the time. I think you and Nita were at a booth years ago. This is, I think, when you were still playing the Jackson, or you might have been playing the Vandenberg, which we should talk about the Vandenberg. Like, whatever happened to that guitar? I love those old PVs. They're just awesome.
I think it was Roland Boss. I forget what year that was. 2012. Yeah. Was Adrian Smith, White Jackson, or it was either my Greenie.
I think it was the green one. Yeah, but it's like, that's cool, but I'm like, this is gonna bother you the rest of your life. Well, then maybe don't be like a smart ass in front of some dude you don't know, because he might be a little wittier than you. And like, I'd laugh about it nowadays. I'm like, he was hitting on my wife. That's kind of cool. Like, Dave Mustaine hit on my wife, but he's like losing.
Could you sign my wife?
Right. Well, I did manage to rip down the sign saying "Meet Dave here at 3," and David is my legal first name. So I'm like, this was for me, dude. Like, this wasn't for him. So, security they were funny. The guy, and it's just this big, the typical, he's got his little mic, the security is like, dude, you're 300 pounds, 6'8". No one's gonna not think you're security. But it was just funny because it's like, what happened? And it's like, well, whatever happened, however they explained it, and they escorted me down to like the next booth that was like Zach Wild, and I was like, I wonder if I should tell him I was like railing on Mustaine. Would he think that was funny? But I don't know. It's just the difference of opinion whether something is funny or acceptable. But you can't talk about first place Hammett without talking about, well, who's second place and who is in third. There's still medals. You still get a medal. You're still on the podium. You're not at the top, but
but he just why I got so nervous and, so embarrassed to like, oh, what do I do? Because, players like him from bands like that, and I always say, I treat musicians like, because we're all human, right? But just being in the same room, he put out just this aura, and I can't explain it. Probably because, still am obsessed with Metallica, so it's like you put them on a pedestal, but just, I don't know, just some weird aura that is just like, wow, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, like someone had asked you about your different personas. Did you feel like Kurt is always Kurt, or he was Kirk Hammett from Metallica?
No,
acting as Kurt?
that's how musicians should be. There shouldn't be different sides to a person. Because I saw that question too. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't change. There's no CCSHRED and Courtney Cox or on stage, off stage. I am, I mean, in my eyes, I guess, I'm the same person. And just like everyone else, I have my funny days, I have my quiet days, I have my pissed off days. Like, don't talk to me unless I have a coffee, that kind of I human, I don't force myself to do jokes. I don't force myself to perform on stage. It's natural, I guess. Yeah, I having to change who you are, it just sounds miserable to me. That's
Right.
even one video for Patreon. I'm like, and if if you don't like me, then keep scrolling. Not everyone's gonna like me. Not everyone's personality playing. If I'm not your cup of tea, fuck off.
Hey, there we go. We got our F-bomb pretty deep into it.
Oh, we had some before.
Yeah, well, guest F-bombs also count, but that's part of our little ritual is dropping F-bombs. I did it earlier and didn't even bring it up.
You're talking. I should like. Is it okay if I swear? Because from Delco we swear a lot. So sorry for all the swearing.
Oh no! Usually get it out of the way early, which I sort of decided to do today because once you break the barrier, initially we tried to keep it to one F-bomb as a PG-13, and that really only worked, I think, maybe 2 out of 13 episodes. But it's metal musicians goofing that may have a few drinks in them on a weekend, so you get what you get.
Yeah, it's never a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
When and how many.
They should have like the little counter on the screen.
Yeah, it's on my end. You guys can't see it.
We need to get a bell like this.
No, have a counter.
Yeah, when it hits a certain level,
Confetti.
confetti and a gold, we get another gold sticker coming out for self-reward for participating. I do want to touch in on Patreon. I've been into Patreon and following artists such as Jack and his band and his singer Adrian for quite some time. You posted quite a lengthy video. I want to say it's probably one of the longest stories on Instagram I've seen in a while, which is okay. You're new. You talk a long time on a, most people's brains shut off after, I think, 60 seconds or 45 seconds.
Not on my post though, because they're like, what's gonna come out of her mouth?
Right. Yeah. So once you're in there, you just don't let go.
It's like a dumpster fire. You can't look away.
The secret to maximum engagement time is being unhinged.
Or just randomly not know what you're talking about. That's a big thing.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
As well. 2 million followers, but why? How? What's your plan for that? Can you talk a little bit, Courtney, about you were peer pressured apparently to get into Patreon from your post. What's your plan? Have you sort of worked through it, and when can your millions and millions of fans expect that to be available to help fund you? Because ultimately it's paid membership for special content from Uber fans.
Yeah. I've been avoiding it for years because it's a lot of responsibility. And I think it's one of
I mean, is it though, really?
It's a lot more than you would think.
Wow.
I've seen the kind of hours that go into like Adrian's Patreon, and it's
Wow.
not like it's like having another job almost.
Mm,
Depending on what you do with it. I mean, some
sure.
people get away with just collecting, but most people try to actually like put time and effort into it and give value.
Right. That's not the norm though, because I've followed several accounts and it's literally the same stuff that's on their Instagram. It just
You have to
it
be
cross populates the same stuff. And I'm like, why am I
yeah.
paying for this?
Yeah.
Mm.
That's my point, because I'm like, it's someone's money. Like, what I want, this kind of thing, and like, yeah, you have to be there, 100%. So even still, I think it'll launch probably next week. Like right now, it's working on special merch and stuff. Then with the Instagram socials, it's like just after a while, it's like I'm on my phone constantly doing all this stuff, and it's like this should be people that actually really appreciate it. It's like so they don't get lost in the algorithm and stuff. And especially now, since my main focus is burning witches, that I have all this time. So, and I always toyed with the idea like giving lessons and stuff. So now this is a way to really connect with fans that don't find me annoying.
Well, I mean, a dumpster fire can be annoying if it's on your property, but you're still gonna watch it.
Because it's just I don't even know this. It just shows it's support and appreciation for true fans that want to see you succeed and stuff, and not just the simps on Instagram waiting for you to wear a tight shirt, or waiting for you to open an OnlyFans, because and I've seen some OnlyFans for some guitar players, and
Are you admitting something here or what? Because you have to pay.
I don't have an account, but I have friends that because I was always curious. I'm like, some of these people have OnlyFans. Like, what's this all about? It's kind of just blind to the whole world.
You're lucky. Continue to be voiding that whole vision.
Yeah. Then it's like then you see these photos and it's like you can't look at this person the same way before. It's like you did before. Like I can't. So I'm like, what, Patreon? There you go.
Yeah. And I mean, the cool thing with Patreon, and also you'll get into Discord, which is a big thing that I learned about through Seven Spires.
I have no clue what it is.
So I'll explain this and Jack can be like, no, you're totally wrong. Stop talking. To me, it seems like, think of Facebook, that fans do have to be a member to communicate and participate. You have total control over who stays or goes.
Wow.
The content, certain people, and it's financially based. The more you pay, the higher tiers are. You can get perks and things like that. And then Discord is like your private server that your community all kind of congregates at. And again, the cringy people that you don't want to have to deal with as Courtney Cox, like you're not going to get people asking you about a Friends reunion, probably, that are paying for your Patreon and are on Discord. It's like you said, it's getting the true fans that want to support you, where you can have all the sides of you out and not be worried about, a particular sect of, I call them fans, but they're not. They're just more creep oriented creepers. It like weeds them out, and you have ultimate control over that. Like, you don't have to report to somebody to ban it. You have your admin, or if you're running it, they can ban people and they're gone. And you have to build up, a team that's kind of helping you build it, because you'll go crazy. Like Jack said, the amount of work, now that I think about it, that goes into the community attached to the account, the artistic account. You monitor, or someone's got to be monitoring that kind of 24/7.
I had the attention span for that.
Right.
Like,
But at the same point,
all days where you just had to tour, right?
right. but with Patreon, since you are ultimately it's a revenue source, you can pay someone to be an admin that does maybe have some time to watch it and monitor things. But everyone pretty much starts it, does it themselves until they really can.
One step at a time. I'm taking a huge leap. I hope I
Right.
do it well. I am terrified. It's like,
well, you shouldn't be, because the stuff you're posting for free on Instagram for everybody, like, you've been doing that for so long. Just imagine if you had more control over who sees that and what your message going out, specifically who it's for. Ultimately, I think once you'll get into it, you'll see how much more beneficial, and it does make your life easier to not worry about so many things that you can filter out yourself. So imagine if you had control over Instagram or Facebook 100%, what would your day look like? What would your fan base, your interaction look like? To me, that's, I think, the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I'm terrified and excited at the same time, because I bet you I'll become so addicted to it.
It's like meeting Kirk Hammett. I really like this, but I don't know what to say. What do I do?
I'm always scheming about funny videos and stuff. Like, I'm already thinking of like 5 new ones, so it will be fun. And it'd be cool because I like showing that not everything is perfect for musicians, because everything you read, it's just like life is so great. Sometimes it's not on the road. Like, so it's cool to show fans the behind the scenes, and you getting angry or you getting upset. It's just real. Like, it's gonna be a reality TV show for me. So that's the one thing I want to accomplish with it. Show the good and the bad. And that could even help someone thinking about getting into the business. Stuff like that. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, basically.
Nice. I think it's really cool that more people are doing that nowadays than trying to keep up this fake, like, everything's always awesome persona.
Well, I like mint chocolate chip. I don't know about James Hetfield, but
he only likes it if he hunted it and killed it before he left the Aldi's where it came from.
There's kind of a funny story about James Hetfield that I heard through a friend of a friend. I mixed some songs on an album for a duo, electric violin and bagpipe duo, and they do covers of like heavy metal songs and stuff. But this the Piper girl, her name's Allie, she did a cover of Master of Puppets on the bagpipes, posted it went viral on like TikTok or whatever, and some dude like commented on this and was just like, bagpipes don't belong in metal. James Hetfield would, be disgusted by this. And Metallica saw that comment and responded to it, and they're like, we love bagpipes. We open our show with the AC/DC song that has bagpipes in it. What are you talking about, dude? And then the guy was like, well, I didn't mean that, like, I didn't really mean to say that. And it's like James Hetfield just like reached down and gave that guy the finger.
all the time. Like, there'd be so many trolls, especially like when I do on wishes. People don't realize. We do sometimes read through everything, and there'd be so many trolls, like really like nasty. I don't like to respond, but sometimes you're pushed against the wall. I'm like, okay, I have to stand up for myself. And the minute you just the first letter, it's instant backpedal, or they delete. Oh, I didn't mean it like that, or like, dude, just wow, like it's an open forum. So
right. Or it's the third category, which you see this a lot in science forums. They're arguing with the specialist that like authored something about what they did. You see it, like someone's trying to say what Stephen King was trying to say with like Cujo, and they don't realize he has a different screen name. He can't be Stephen King. He's like, that's not what King meant at all. This is what it's about. It's like, how would you know? And then it's like a screenshot of Stephen King typing next to his name, and the guy's the Uber fan doesn't know that Stephen King's screen name isn't Stephen King. So that's a fun category that you could always include in your day-to-day. I'd like to see more of that on your Patreon once you start. Like, look at this cringy comment. He's arguing with me.
People like you do like those reaction videos. I'm like, I'm already 3 steps ahead of you, dude. like, the videos, and they take like the 10 worst comments on like your Twitter or whatever. They just go through like with the game music in the background.
Like the next big thing in heavy metal entertainment is like pulling those kind of like comments and just
Reading all
ripping
the
on people.
shit talking on you.
Right.
That would be great. Yeah, do a complete serious voice. But yeah,
You'll never get through it without cracking up,
no, I won't.
unless you have the time to chop the pieces together.
Oh, I will. Like I said, most of the videos, if there's like an extreme cutaway and it comes back, that means I started laughing.
Right.
It's
you
all
just-
about delivery. So
And people see the little quiver where you're trying so hard not to
yeah.
crack up.
You just see the smile is getting bigger. But
Ugh.
that's cool. But
Oh Lord.
merch, special merches for, I think what someone told me, patrons,
Yeah, patrons.
patrons, whatever.
A lot of peas.
Yeah.
Partake.
What do I call you? Oh, but
Call
actually,
'em suckers, pay up, give me the money. And that's why no one's on my Patreon account.
no, but I got some previews of I'm gonna have 2 shirts. I got previews today, and they are badass. And I'm usually not that person that I don't even know how to. No, that was really mean. That would be mean to say, but no, I'm not the person that wears their own shirt because I think it's kind of lame sometimes. But
Oh, like wearing a Burning Witches shirt
wear
during a
this
podcast.
maybe I could. You'll get a preview only here.
Oh, rad, awesome. Well, we'll probably be coming out with this hopefully like Thanksgiving. I think I'll have enough time to
Let's see. Here's the preview one for you. It's one of them.
Oh, nice.
right on.
That's very cool.
Only here. Just kidding.
Metal.
And there's another one that's even more sick. But yeah.
Rad. Now do you use that? Oh, go ahead, sorry.
So I'm putting the effort in, so it's gonna be good. So hopefully people sign up and
Right. Like Deadpool says, maximum effort.
You'll get all the people like joining and then unsubscribing. Like, where's all the friends content?
Or like, where are all the pictures like the ones from 20 years ago when she was
Yeah,
modeling?
oh god. Put some clothes on, like bitch, do my laundry then, okay?
Right. I think people don't know your story, and you feel free not to answer this, but you transitioned physically, not in a sexual way, but you kind of went from one sort of extreme to another.
Yeah, I was a very overweight child.
Which I've battled my whole life. So it like to learn things about, it's like you got to a point where it's like I finally feel great about myself and want to like do this. Like you joked about, like this was the bad decision making, when you're like, no, it wasn't. It was awesome. I loved it. It was a blast to do.
I was teased to the point, I think 3rd grade, I had to take a sound recorder to school. I had it so bad. And I think that's where kind of my sense of humor comes from, because it was kind of like a fallback safe place for me. It's like when being teased so much, you just kind of naturally just become funny or be the funny person,
Right. Sure.
escape what you're going through. And then I got healthy and stuff, and then I'm like, oh man, I can wear a bikini. It's like everything was for me, not so much selling sex with sex sells, which is true. But I just did it because I could. I never had that sense of being sexy. After growing up being teased, I didn't know what that felt like, and so that's I made a joke. I made a lot of bad decisions because like, oh, it's gonna hurt your career, and everyone and then even. There's always like certain pages that post the same photos over and over again, and people like think they're like new photos. And I'm always joking like, I'm 19 again. And
Right.
if I still had that 6-pack, I'd probably still be doing it. But I'm over 30. It's like I know my place now, right? It's for the younger generation with OnlyFans to do.
Right. Yeah.
I don't regret a thing, but
I mean, like it's like the whole there's not bad publicity. There is bad, but like here's the thing. There's a one site I follow because I will post my friends' bands and things like that occasionally for people that really want to see new music that's good. They do tend to be like these are female musicians, blah blah blah. So I don't worry about that, but it's like, well, this is an aspect of the music fan base that'll listen to a band just because of the way someone looks. But I know some of the pages you're talking about, and every week religiously they're posting your pictures, and you're not paying for that. Like that's free publicity that I dare say thousands of people might be seeking you out and seeking out the band and maybe becoming fans of the band, as opposed to the small percentage that's like, the cringies going there. But
it also feels a lot of haterade, which I love. Yeah. I guess it's perfect content, like me reading through all the comments.
Right. So like your Patreon could literally be like all these old pictures and be like just rehashing them. It's like that's what everyone else does. I don't even think about it.
Here I am again with a bottle of wine. Awesome.
Yeah, I always just think about sometimes like the level of audacity that you need to have that people are like, modeling or posting these kind of photos for you to have an opinion on is just ridiculous. Like, like you said, like, I can wear a bikini now. I'm going to do that. That's awesome. I feel great. Like, what for a second makes you think that you, like, whatever your name is behind the keyboard, are like that it's for you? It's not.
Yeah, Sean with EAN, that guy.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of this I'm wearing the bikini, like, and I don't know why it's such a hard thing to grasp for some people commenting on it. It was for a modeling contest, It's like, or like the ones that I'm on stage. Did I take those photos? Am I posting these photos? No, it's a fan in the crowd with a camera. I am not promoting this photo. It's whoever, took that shot. Okay, great. But man, it's just over and over and over again. I guess they don't want to see newer photos of me. They're just lost in the past, the good old days, right?
Right. Yeah, well, I mean,
the other thing is like I get attacked so much over those ones because it's always the bikini ones. And then you'll get so and so doesn't dress like that, and this person doesn't dress like that. I'm like, if you go on Google and you look hard enough, every one has some kind of risque bikini shot or lingerie. Everyone.
It's their clothes. People wear them.
You'd see their bedroom. You're like, God, even for me, we had it too. Like I had all the shirtless Metallica posters and Kip Winger and all that. Oh yeah. How many they can take their shirt off, right? I mean, we're not taking our shirts off per se. We still have a bra or something on. But it's the same thing. Men were doing it too.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's a mostly Americanized reaction to this. Europe is very much more open. Like the newscasters wearing bikinis. Like half of the Budweiser Rebel Flag South minds would explode if newscasters wore bikinis here. People are just more ignorant here. That's all it is. And it's guys. Guys are just more ignorant here. It is like you don't know what to do. You're so uncomfortable with something. You gotta be blah blah.
Just gotta put others down. But as he has like a stack of like penthouse behind him,
Or he's actually got the Playgirl issue with Peter Steele. He has that one.
Yeah, he's still living in his mom's basement.
His
it's
stepmom.
There's such a hypocritical overlap as well, because it will be like the people that are like, this will ruin your career, this is ridiculous, why are you doing this to yourself? And then they're the ones with all the posters on their walls. Like, come on, dude.
No, my favorite, there's a meme that I always send back and forth, like, to friends and stuff. The minute like a troll's attacking us, or I see on their page attacking it, it's like a guy, a really overweight guy sitting on a couch with like Cheetos or something, watching like a beauty pageant, and the comment is like watching one of the girls come down the catwalk, goes, her nose is too big.
Exactly.
I use the same meme. It's the same guy, and the girl's walking down, and she's like, the guy's like, Oh, vegans are so unhealthy. So I use the same memes. So
Yeah,
it's
but
awesome.
we know the picture.
Yeah,
There's like in my family, there's a running joke like we'll watch the Olympics and make fun of ourselves for thinking that we could do that, and it's the same thing. Like, oh, why would he use this stroke in this way? You can swim way faster if he would just use his feet more. And it's like they're operating at like a superhuman level, and we're sitting on the couch just like,
yeah. It's like the diver's legs were 6 inches apart, and when they landed, they should have been parallel, and the splash would have been less. It's like,
That's too much.
You don't know how to swim.
disgraceful.
You can't spell swim. What are you talking about?
It's a crawl, not freestyle.
So awesome. I feel very enlightened, and I'm glad. I like to end things on a positive note with everyone laughing, and sometimes at my expense, but that's fine. We really covered, I think, pretty much everything, plus way more with you, Courtney. I mean, I certainly could probably talk the rest of the day, babbling like the brook that I am. But yeah, you've been so awesome hanging with us, and just the candidity. I just made up a word, if that's not a word. Someone could check my math. It's like what we live for. It's like education and humor wrapped up together. But
the answer no.
What's that? Sorry.
Can she form a sentence? And the answer is no. No, I cannot.
Well, you just did, so you proved yourself wrong. So
gold star.
Confetti! Yay!
No.
But the awkward silence comes here at the end. I can edit that in post. Everything you're doing, I honestly hadn't really heard too much of Burning Witches myself. My brother's kind of like the uber fan. Any band still that has a Filipino heritage member, like your drummer, he's always like, oh, this band has a Filipino, guitar player, drummer. Like he's on that level still, which is cool. But I never really listened to the band until you joined, just because knowing of you and your level, I think for that band certainly is going to bring things up. I know you were featured in 3 of the new videos. Just real quick, what's your input from the album? Like beyond that, like are you at the point like writing new music for that and stuff in the future? Obviously, and what was already recorded, like how much input did you sort of have with the songs and things like that?
So when I stepped in for, I think I started those May shows, I stepped in, the album was already pressed, but they offered like, hey, if you want to put your spin on a few of the songs, like have at it. And then that's what came out for the digital release. It was Tomorrow, Unleash the Beast, and World on Fire. And obviously we're still touring that album, but yeah, me and Ramana have already been sending riffs back and forth, putting songs together, which is it's really cool. It's just a really nice process I'm not used to, because usually it's like, okay, you gotta finish everything, then put drums to it, then put bass to it, and then pass it over. But that for me, just the start of anything, throw out ideas and send a riff. No, maybe change that part, send me a riff. I'm gonna change that, and then it just molds together. And it's such a eye-opening experience for me. And and I know this album is gonna be written real fast. This is how things have started in the flow. Because me and her, on a creativity level, we are the same. Or influences what we want to hear. We don't change. We don't care which direction the music, or what's popular now, which genre is more popular. You know what? We're heavy metal fans, and that's what we're gonna write. Old school heavy metal, because that's where our heart is. So, but yes, the writing has started, and I literally cannot wait to get into the studio. I'm waiting for this. All these riffs you have stored in your head for years.
Right.
Why-
You have decades of original riffs that probably are screaming for vengeance.
every phone, and now some I can't get into because you don't have a chip anymore. But I'm like, I can't get rid of a phone because all the voice things singing into a phone and get all the riffs up. So even my Apple Logic folder, it's like just going through it. There's just riffs and songs and songs and songs. It's now I'm like, oh, I forgot about that riff. But I think I have to get a new computer soon or just some kind of extended disk space because it's just so many riffs and stuff. But now I finally have the chance to unleash it on the world. So
Unleash the Courtney beast.
yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited. It should be fun.
Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of beasts, we didn't really get to talk about your fur kids. I know you're a crazy cat lady.
They're with Mama Cox right now.
Yeah, yeah. Traveling across continents isn't the best thing for fur kids, but
Whole other process with pet passports and shots and just the stress of the flight alone. Be tough, but eventually.
Cool. Well, hopefully you'll get some East Coast stuff here next year.
I've caught wind that there will be some shows up north next June, so hopefully that will bleed into the East Coast and do a full run. So
awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us. For just for lighting the dumpster and knocking it over. And for anyone still watching, thank you so much for sticking around and smashing that button.
Go unfollow her now.
Please, next week on Metal Sucks podcast tells every fan of artists that are guests to unfollow them.
But follow my Patreon, please.
All right. I don't think our 37 followers are really going to amount to much, but you never know. But all seriousness aside, don't follow CCSHRED. Don't join Courtney Cox band, musician, guitarist.
But if you
Patreon.
have about friends or Scream, just send them over.
Yeah. Send your dick pics to Courtney Cox, not Courtney Cox.
CourtneyLovesCox.com.
That's the OnlyFans that's coming next year.
Jesus.
For all the cringe fans of the RG 550 Ibanez that hasn't been made for 20 years, if you knew that, you would realize these pictures were old. But seriously, yeah, burningwitches.com, CCSHRED, Courtney's Instagram. It's so entertaining, so fun. Follow her for when the Patreon drops. I'm certainly chomping at the bit here. When's this going to come out? Because it's going to be so much fun. Right. That's the joke that you're constantly posting. I'm going to do this. And in 3 years, I'm going to do this. It's coming. I got sweet merch.
Squirrel. About again.
I'll have the same COVID memes in 16 years.
I'm just going to go repeat and repost everything. Surprise.
Right. I mean, ultimately, that's what people want to see. They want the same thing from 20 years ago over and over. But no, seriously, it's been so awesome. Such a blast. Thank you for sharing your time and just the stories and your personality. People don't need to worry about which version of Courtney you're getting. They're all Courtney. So deal with it.
So, thank you for having me. That was fun.
Awesome. Well, everyone, I've been Xeus. This has been Jack, and this has been Courtney.
Yeah.
Signing off. Everyone have a happy holiday and be safe and stay metal. We'll see you next time.